Okay, picture this. You're, what, 22 years old? You're standing there, looking out the window of this condo you just bought. You did everything right, graduated college early, got the fancy consulting job, checked all the boxes everyone, especially maybe your family, told you to check.
Right. By all the usual standards, you've absolutely nailed it. You've won.
But instead of feeling great, you just feel awful, like this profound sadness. It hits you immediately. I have everything I'm supposed to want, but honestly, I don't even want to wake up tomorrow. And looking out at that city thinking, is this it? That's maybe the scariest moment. That's the real wake-up call.
Yeah, that feeling, that sudden realization that the life you built, the one based on everyone else's plans, it's actually this, I don't know, gold-plated cage.
Exactly.
That's where the real journey starts, I think. Today, we're really diving into that struggle, that tension between, fitting in and being, well, authentic. We're looking at a story about what it takes psychologically to let other people's dreams for your life kind of die so yours can actually live.
That's exactly our mission for this deep dive. We want to unpack the psychology behind breaking away, understand why that really lonely chapter is often necessary, and maybe appreciate why the toughest, most isolating times aren't just hurdles, but actually like the key parts of building your own story. So let's get into it. So the story begins like a textbook case of success, right? Finishes college in just 3 years, lands this high-status consulting job, stays local in Baltimore, does all the things. And for this person, his father's approval wasn't just like nice to have. He said it was literally everything. It was his whole measure of worth.
And that right there is the core paradox, isn't it? The crushing irony of needing that external stamp. Because the exact moment his father was the most proud, when everything looked perfect on the outside, security, prestige, all of it. That was precisely when he felt the absolute worst, the saddest he'd ever been. It creates this massive disconnect, If getting the ultimate prize, that external yes, makes you miserable, well, then you've got proof, actual evidence that you're following the wrong map. You have to admit, maybe I succeeded, but at the wrong thing.
And once you see that, you can't really unsee it, can you? So that realization kicked off this, 6-month countdown. It wasn't just storming out. It was a thought-out decision. Quit the corporate life, leave Baltimore, move clear across the country to California, Huntington Beach, and the goal, compared to consulting, it sounded kind of crazy, start a gym business.
And the commitment there is just huge. Because he went all in on making retreat impossible. Drove across the U.S. knowing absolutely no one. He gets there, someone asks where he's staying. No plan. Just, I don't know, I just showed up.
Wow. That kind of total isolation, socially, geographically, it just burns the bridges. It removes the safety net. It forces you into a situation where you have to make it work because there's literally nobody to call if you fail. And that jump into hardship wasn't like an accident. It was a choice. He started out renting just a single room, maybe $400 a month, but pretty quick he realized every single dollar had to go into the business. So he decides to just move into the gym itself. He actually remembers thinking, okay, this is going to be a story. This is my Rocky moment.
Yeah, and that Rocky cutscene idea, it's so critical for managing expectations, isn't it? We see these movies, and the struggle montage is like 30 seconds long. Working out in the snow, quick cut, boom, success.
The triumphant music swells.
Exactly. But in real life, that period of, well, let's just call it the really tough grind, it's not a montage. It can be 5 years or more. It's the difference between cinematic grit and just the boring day after day reality of feeling like you're not getting anywhere.
And his reality was definitely not glamorous. The first gym, just a concrete box under a parking garage, literally the underside of some retail strip. He talked about these metal things in the ceiling. So every time a car drove over the garage floor above, it sounded like a gunshot right over his head all night long.
Oh my God. Sleep must have been impossible.
He basically lived on random naps for the first 6 months, waking up, having to deal with homeless people sleeping in the parking lot, then locking himself back inside with just a blanket and a pillow on the AstroTurf floor.
That image, it really highlights the emotional core of it, doesn't it? Yeah. Think about the sounds from above. His peers, the college kids who took the standard path, maybe they're literally partying on the roof right above him, enjoying the life he deliberately walked away from. And he's down below, totally alone, grinding it out in this dark warehouse, sleeping on the floor in a city where he knows nobody. That's got to be the absolute peak of that lonely path. Hearing the party you gave up while you're just trying to survive.
That isolation, sleeping on the floor because he couldn't afford rent for an apartment in the gym. That brought this, ultimate clarity. He realized, nobody's coming. No one is coming to save me.
And that's the pivot point, isn't it? The moment of real, maybe terrifying freedom. What's so interesting is that his biggest fear, the thing driving him, it wasn't just losing money or the business failing.
No, what was it?
It was the absolute dread of having to go back home, having to tell his father, yeah, you were right all along.
Yeah.
That outcome, he said, felt worse than death.
Wow.
Not actual death, obviously, but the death of his own choice, his autonomy, complete surrender back to the life he'd just escaped.
So if going back means a lifetime of feeling trapped, you have no choice but to burn the boats and figure out how to succeed forward.
And those early days were pure survival mode, fueled by that desperation. He opened the gym with literally just turf on the floor. Couldn't afford any equipment yet.
Just turf.
Just turf. He said his first clients, they signed up out of pure pity, not because he was some charismatic salesman.
Pity clients.
Okay.
But hey, pity worked. Those first 29 members signed up before the doors even opened. And the money they paid up front, it was exactly the amount he needed for the first month's rent. $4,972.
That specific number, $4,972.
That specific number.
$4,972. It's such a dose of cold, hard reality. He hustles like crazy, gets those first 29 people, hits the exact number he needs just to survive.
Yeah.
Only to watch every penny immediately vanish to pay the landlord. Poof, gone.
Right, and then the realization sinks in.
Oh, crap, I have to do that all over again next month.
Exactly.
That's the treadmill. There's no quick escape hatch. One good month doesn't mean you're safe. You had to keep showing up, keep grinding, because the bill comes due again in 30 days. Persistence isn't optional.
Okay, so let's dig into the psychology of that long grind. Surviving physically is one thing, but mentally, that's tough. He talks about this idea of the lonely chapter. It's this phase where, you're too different for your old friends.
They kind of want the old you back.
Right. But you're also not successful enough yet to really fit in with the new crowd you might be aiming for.
Yeah. It's exactly when you need support the most, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's often when you get it the least.
Totally.
And that brings up this whole thing about social dynamics, social gravity almost. People, generally, they want you to do okay. But sometimes they get uncomfortable if you start doing way better than them. Especially if your ambition kind of shines a light on maybe their own lack of action, So they might try to pull you back, shove you back into the box they're used to, using the anchor of who you used to be.
How does that show up? What do they say?
Oh, maybe criticizing your new standards, calling you obsessed or a control freak, saying you work too much.
Right, subtle digs.
Yeah, often it's just because your change unsettles their comfort zone. They don't want the status quo disturbed.
But what if that anchor isn't just some casual friend? What if it's your spouse?
Yeah.
Or your parents who are genuinely worried about you taking these risks? You can't just cut those people off, right? How do you navigate that?
That's much harder. It's about managing expectations, not necessarily cutting ties completely. You probably won't convince them with words. You have to show them through just relentless consistency. You manage the friction by being really clear and unwavering about your mission. If they see your commitment as absolute, they might not get it, they might still worry, but eventually they might respect the dedication. The alternative is slowing down for them, compromising, which just puts you back in that cage, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, which is why, especially early on, you have to be your own cheerleader. He uses this metaphor, the single clap in the auditorium.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's like the slow clap, but it's just you rooting for yourself for a long, long time. You have to just accept that you're probably going to suck at first. It's totally unreasonable to expect to be great right away.
And the absolute most powerful mental tool here, I think, is reframing the struggle itself, seeing it as material. You have to think constantly, this is going to make an amazing story one day. The tougher it is now, the bigger the dragon you have to slay, the more epic the hero's journey feels later on. When you're sleeping on that floor, you're not just failing, you're gathering plot points.
That connects to something else you mentioned, this idea that no effort is ever truly wasted. But he brought up something that seemed random, calligraphy. How does learning calligraphy possibly relate to running a gym under a parking garage?
Ah, okay, that's actually a brilliant point about the difference between the outcome and the output.
Okay.
The outcome, say, a successful gym that's external. It can change, it's fragile. But the output, that's the internal change, the psychological benefits you gain from the struggle itself, those are permanent. Learning something difficult and maybe unrelated, like calligraphy. It builds discipline, patience, the ability to stick with something when the results are slow and maybe frustrating.
I see.
That discipline, that's the real asset you gain from the grind. It gives you tools, arrows for whatever future challenges come up. You start to realize, okay, I am the output of this work, not just the external result. The person you become, that's the real win.
So, thinking about the mindset needed to keep going, accountability seems absolutely critical. Shifting your internal dialogue to everything in my life right now, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which sounds maybe negative, like self-blame, but he argues it's actually incredibly empowering.
It is, exactly. Accountability isn't about blame, it's about agency. It's recognizing, okay, if I'm responsible for this situation, then I'm also the only one who can actually change it. You move from asking, why me? Why is this happening to me? It's a pure victim mode.
Right.
To asking, okay, what am I going to do about this? How will I fix it?
Yeah.
That's taking control. It's the shift from stagnation to action because you can't change things you don't feel you control.
And maybe the most common mistake people make when they're chasing something big is wanting the confidence before they've actually done the work. They want the feeling of success without the reps, the failures.
Oh, completely. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of how competence is built.
Yeah.
You feel like an imposter? Well, yeah, probably because you haven't put in the time to earn the right to feel confident yet. Confidence, maybe more than anything, follows the proof. The pudding comes after the proof, not before. You have to push through the discomfort, do the work, even when it feels awkward or fake, until your own actions convince you. You're the only audience that really matters on that internal journey.
And we just have to accept that big goals, big ambitions, they come with a price tag. And it's usually fixed. You might not like the price. Maybe it's years of your life, financial risk, losing friends, constant failure. But you can't really negotiate the price down. Complaining about it, trying to avoid the hard parts, that's easier, sure, but it doesn't get you there.
And this all ties back so strongly to authenticity, doesn't it? If you hold a belief, like a really deep conviction, but you can't actually explain why you believe it in your own words, then it's probably not really your belief. You're just like playing back a recording someone else made.
Ah, interesting point.
The reason so many people feel kind of lonely or like they're just acting a role in their own lives, it's often because they never truly say what they think. They just echo what their group says, what's acceptable. And yeah, they sound like everyone else because they never risked being themselves. That lonely path, it might be the only way to actually find your own genuine voice.
But what a journey, huh? From that supposed peak in the condo, the golden cage, all the way down to the AstroTurf floor. And maybe the biggest relief wasn't hitting some massive success number right away. It was finally giving yourself permission to be unhappy for an extended period of time.
Yes.
Permission to just be in the struggle, in service of that bigger thing you chose. Taking that pressure off. The pressure to feel good while you're deep in the trenches.
And if we bring this right back to you, the listener, that feeling, that urge to take a harder, maybe lonelier path, it usually comes from inside, doesn't it? If you feel like you have potential you're not using, like you know you're capable of more than you're currently doing, that feeling, that unused potential, he argues it will basically eat you alive until you finally do something about it. The goal isn't just hitting some external target. It's about squeezing every last drop of capability out of whatever gifts or drive you have.
So maybe think about that today. As you go through your day, what are you doing? Which meeting, which task, which social thing, mostly just to impress someone else or keep them happy? Until you start shedding that need for external validation, that unused potential is just going to keep nudging you, reminding you that maybe you're living someone else's story. So identify the biggest dragon you're facing right now and try to see the difficulty not just as hardship, but as well as adding the really epic chapters to the story you'll eventually tell. Go be the hero.